Thank you guys for coming out today. Just to kind of recap the weekend, start with our players of the week. Offensive line, again, it was Trey Zune. Again, he continues to be the anchor of our front. Played a really, really good game again, and so excited with how he continues to develop. Defensively, we went with Nick Skirton, kind of wreaked havoc, 2 sacks, obviously the strip sack to win us the football game at the end, and so thought he stepped into his own. Players of the week, offensively, we went with Le'Veon Moss, over 100 yards again, doing a really nice job for us in the running game. Defensively, obviously, Nick is a part of this, but we went with Des Rick, stepping in his first game as a starter. Thought he played really, really well. And then on special teams, obviously, Tyler White had a phenomenal game, and he was named SEC Special Teams Performer of the Week, and so excited for him. I think when you recap it, we won the turnover battle 3-0. That's going to win you a lot of football games. I thought defensively we were really happy with the way our defensive line played. I thought they controlled the run game as well as the pocket. Didn't really let the quarterback get comfortable back there. Didn't let him escape either. And those two things are a really hard job. I thought we took a step in the secondary. We got our hands on a lot of footballs, made some plays back there. Still work to do to clean up some things, and certainly some areas we can get better and improve for sure. I think offensively, probably most proud of the responses. If you look at the game, we got down 7-0, we responded. We got down 14-7, we responded. We got down 17-14, and it was the next drive that we responded. I think it was what happened in the middle, where we just kind of got into a little bit of a rut and couldn't get out of it. And obviously, we got to take a hard look at ourselves, what we're doing, what we're calling, the best pitch situations we're putting kids in. Again, it comes down to that, focus level to be able to consistently do the things over a long period of time. I think that's still an area we have to get better. I thought we were good in the red zone, getting 2 for 2 on touchdowns. I thought that was really good. Still got to find ways to get a little bit more explosive in the passing game. I thought we finished the day 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter. I thought we put together 3 really big drives in the fourth quarter, which was important, and so that was good. Special teams, I'll own the punt problem. We'll get that caught better and fixed and corrected. Outside of that, I thought we had a pretty good day on special teams. Obviously, we punted the ball 9 times, which you don't ever want to do, but he had 6 of them on the 10 or inside the 10, right? And so I thought we controlled field position with our kicking game. I thought the effort and strain on kickoff coverage, even though they were all touchbacks, we kind of chart miles per hour and how fast everybody's running down the field. And that was our best day by far, running down the field the way we want to. And then on the punt return unit, we still just got to find some ways to create space for Terry. I think that's something we continue to try to find in different ways to create opportunities for him to get going. And so that's Arkansas. We brought the trophy home, and so that's hopefully the end of that series up in Dallas. And that trophy will stay here for a while, and so we're excited about that. Turning our attention now to Missouri, obviously a really talented team, a 4-0 football team, top 10 in the country. Eli Drinkwitz has been there for a while. A lot of respect for him, known him for a long time, going all the way back to when he was the offensive coordinator at NC State, and I was at Wake Forest, and that was the first time we went head-to-head with each other, and just a lot of respect for who he is, how he runs a program, what they do. Offensively, they're a top 20 national offense. They're 7th in the country on third down, so another really good third down unit. I think it all starts with the quarterback, Brady Cook. I think he's extremely talented, can throw the ball all over the field, does make plays with his feet, extends drives, make plays on third down, has enough athleticism to do some things running the football. Not that I don't know that I would label him a dual threat, but he makes a lot of plays with his feet, a lot more than I think people give him credit for. And he's such a winner. Like, he plays the game the right way. And so you could see why he's been really successful for them. They got an outstanding wide receiver core. Obviously, Luther Burton is the headliner. He was over 1,200 yards last year. He's about to go on pace to do the same thing again this year. And, an electric kid. They play him in the slot primarily. Theo Weiss, we're very familiar with. He's having another outstanding year for them. And then Mookie Cooper lines up on the outside. And so 3 outstanding wide receivers. Seems like they always go in the transfer portal to find a running back. They did it again with Nate Noel, who's having an outstanding year, and so they're really good. And then they got a ton of experience on the offensive line. They got 3 guys who are in their 3rd year as starters, and so it's a really good group. Defensively, they're 8th in the country in scoring defense, 3rd in the country in total defense, and so again, playing at a really high level. They got a really big physical front. Probably going to be the best one we've seen to this point. They're really athletic at linebacker. They run sideline to sideline, and really talented on the back end. Toriano Pride is an elite corner. We tried multiple times to try to get him here. He's just a really good football player. And then obviously Dre Norwood was a kid that was here in our program, and we have a lot of respect for him as a player. And so it's a talented group. It's going to be another big national stage here in Kyle Field, and so we're excited for the opportunity and turning the page forward. And so from there, I'll open the questions.
Down front, Brett.
How would you gauge Marcel Reed's progress after 3 starts? And is the throwing deep, you feel like the accuracy, is that just something that comes with time and more reps?
Yeah, I think probably a combination of things. Certainly some throws he wishes he'd have back. I still think we're not getting to spacing in the right way, so the timing of our route concepts isn't always exactly how we want it to be too, and so it's always a combination, and then timing sometimes is the offensive line forcing the throw a little bit quicker than we want to throw it, and so I think it hits at every level. Yeah, do I think it will get better? Yes, I think we've seen it better. We just got to get it to translate consistently onto the field the way he wants to, and I think he's still making progress every single week. I do. When we put the film on, we still feel like we see positive strides forward every single week from him. He's young. He's made 4 starts, and there's still some ups and downs that come with it. But, again, ton of confidence in him continuing to move forward as we go.
And how is Connor progressing? You listed as out, not just questionable going into Saturday's game. So how is he coming along?
Yeah, the same. So he went to out as that game time decision because we kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to throw. And so, again, not trying to play games with that. It's just one of those things with the shoulder. And so he'll be a game time decision again this week, and we'll kind of see where it goes.
Staying in the front, Travis, and then Alex.
Yeah, so many you hit up so many defensive backs in the portal this year. I know there was a depleted from last year, but why was it so important to really go over and beyond to bolster that depth with, and how many guys have been rotating into this year?
Yeah, I just think when we looked at the roster balance, that was the area we felt like there were massive deficiencies numbers-wise. And so, and that was no disrespect to Javon Thomas and Bravion Rogers. Like, both those kids were coming back. Both those kids are competing. Javon's played a lot. Bravion's doing a lot of good things for us on special teams. We just didn't have the volume of players and experience that you would want going into an SEC season. And so I had some openings which created, a little bit more. It's easier to go out and find kids too when there's openings. That helps for sure. And so we were able to go out and pull some kids and then find some kids to step in at safety. And we, I think, did a really good job of evaluating the kids that we brought in here.
And when you look at the success that Hill's had in the pass rush, and how much is that a hallmark of your kind of defense, and then how much of that is what he's been able to do as well?
I think that's a hallmark of you guys reading PFF stats. He blitzed twice, no one blocked him. No, I don't mean to be coy, but he blitzed twice and no one blocked him, and so he got this PFF grade that was awesome. I would like him as a blitzer. He's a really good blitzer. I don't know that I watched the tape though and thought he did a ton rushing the passer. He blitzed twice and they didn't pick him up.
To the left, Alex, and then David.
So Nick told us after the game that he felt like the defense played well, but just still a need to cut down the big plays. When you've gone back and just watched the tape the last couple weeks, what are some of the things you see that you guys are trying to correct to limit those moving forward?
Yeah, it's been a huge focus on communication. That's the biggest thing, and making sure that we're on the same page across the board with what we're doing. I think Saturday the big play was at least not communication. I think it was, they ran a route, we covered the route, the quarterback extended the play, the route broke off. It was actually the clear route. It wasn't even part of the progression, but he broke off. We lost him when he broke, and he got separation on Jay Hill and wound up making a good throw and catch. And so, we don't want those things to happen, but at least we were on the same page with how we were trying to execute the coverage. That's where the consistency, I think, comes from. And so, and again, I still think in the kids' defense, there's still you're still doing it all for, I don't mean to keep coming back to this, but you are. This was no different when I was here in 2018. We gave up way more explosive plays on defense in 2018 than we did on 2019. We made a massive jump forward in 2019. I'm not suggesting we have to wait a whole year to get where we want to go, but sometimes it just takes time to get all of the opportunities in this system to communicate the way you want to. And I think we're getting better. I think we're getting more comfortable. I thought we were much better across the board. Still some areas we got to fix and clean up.
Second row on right, David, and then Olin.
Mike, can you speak a little bit about red zone scoring this week, 2 for 2 in there in a game that field goals would have maybe tied the game or lost the game, but your ability to put it in with your play calling and execution?
Yeah, it's, we talk about only a couple things when it talks about winning football, and when we talk about offensively, it's converting money downs and it's scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and those things are critical. We work 4-point plays, which are third downs inside the red zone every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. And so we put a huge emphasis on that area of the field, trying to make sure we know how to put the ball in the end zone when we get down there. And so, yeah, you don't always get it right, but I think we've been in some big games where we've gotten it right, and it's helped us certainly win games.
Staying on the right, Olin. Then to the left.
Yeah, Mike, I don't know, maybe you at least partially already answered this, but I was wondering if you could elaborate on some of the things that you've seen that makes you say that, you are making, taking steps forward in the secondary?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it, we got more pass breakups. We were made more competitive defensive plays. I think our one-on-one coverage was much tighter and much stickier. There certainly weren't the overt busts that we had in the Florida and Bowling Green game where there were people open. And so I think those things all are signs of progress. I think they still had 270 passing yards. They had a high volume of throws. They had 270 passing yards, so that's still too high. A lot of that's helped by the 75-yarder in the beginning, but it's still too high. It's not. We have to be better than that. But I do think we took positive steps in the right direction.
And then are there any things you point to that would say, hey, here's the reason why Noah seems to be breaking out? He's had like 11 catches in the last 2 games and starting to be more productive.
Yeah, no, I don't know that there's reasons. I mean, we've got a lot of trust in Noah. We've since the first game, he's a guy that you try to find ways to get the football to. I think we've had some different opportunities to get him the ball in the last few games. We've been able to hit them a little bit more, and I think he, to his credit, continues to just work. I think he's continuing to work. He works really, really hard in practice. He's one of our hardest workers on offense when we go out to the practice field, and that's really good to see. And I think he's continuing to get more and more comfortable in the system, running the routes at the depth and the routes that we want him to run. And so I think it's paying off for him.
Third row on the left, Dallas Morning News.
Coach, you touched on your experience with Coach Stringwitz. What do you remember about those previous matchups, and then maybe what are some characteristics of offenses that he's led?
Yeah, I think they do a really, really good job of attacking you sideline to sideline and then pushing you vertical in the throw game. A lot of different play action concepts. Always quick to go to a trick play at the right time. Does a really good job making sure that those are designed the right way and schemed the right way. And so, he's a really good offensive coach, and they've done a really, really good job for a long time.
Second row on the right, Carter. Then we'll go to the back.
Mike, how did you see Jaden respond to just giving up that first big play? And then what have you seen from BJ moving and playing some nickel?
Yeah, I thought the response was really good, and you need that when you're a secondary player. I think, it's the most lonely position on the field sometimes because every time you get beat, everybody on the planet knows it was you. And so the response was good. I thought he bounced back. I thought he did the things that you would like to see him do, and I think that was good to see. And then I said this in the locker room to the team after the game, like, BJ Mays, when things like that happen, you have to stop and point them out. Here's a kid who wanted to be the starting corner, gets nicked up, doesn't go into the opener as the starting corner, doesn't play the amount of reps maybe he wants to play in the first couple of games. We lose Tyreek, and so we go to him and say, hey, here's an opportunity for you. You haven't taken a snap at nickel yet. But we think this is a chance for you to really enhance your role, and he jumps all over it, spends a ton of extra time learning all the things he needs to learn, and I thought the last 2 games, he's been out there on third down, and last game we were able to get him out on first and second down a little bit more too, and so that's been a huge help for us.
And Le'Veon Moss, from just a health standpoint, I know you mentioned he was a little nicked up. Is he good to go?
Yeah, Yeah, he's good to go. He had a little bit of, he was dealing with a little bit of anxiety, honestly, early on, and working through that, and then he got a bruised shin at some point that we just needed to kind of calm down a little bit, and so he's good to go.
Coach, back behind the lights to the left, Morgan.
Speaking of Le'Veon, he just hit 1,000 career rushing yards. Just what has led him to be so consistent and effective this season?
Yeah, I think he had an unbelievable offseason. You know, I chuckled a lot at some of the things that were written in the offseason regarding him because he's been one of our hardest workers since the day I got here. Hasn't missed a workout. I think he's really changed his body. I think he would tell you he feels much better from a physical stature, strength, stamina standpoint than he ever has. And I think that's allowed him to go out there and practice a lot more consistently. And so that's, tightening down his lines, his angles, his entry points into the run game. And so, those things I think have helped him be more consistent. And he's got unbelievable physical ability. He always has. And so, then you see him get out in space and run the way he runs. And that's something that certainly God gave him. We didn't have a lot to do with that part of it.
Let's stay back in the back on the right, Chip.
Mike, as a defensive coach, you've prepared over the years for star players and guys you'd like to hold down. What do you do with guys like Burden who can change a game really quickly on Saturday?
Yeah, I think each team presents their different challenges, and with this one, it's really challenging because you got an elite runner in the running back room. You've got two other really talented receivers in Theo and Mookie Cooper, and so it creates some challenges. I think that's what allows Burden to be as successful as he is it's not a one-man show, and it's not just, okay, hey, we're going to stop him at all cost and not worry about anybody else on the field. And so, you've got to obviously be aware of him, know where he is, know how you're leveraging him, and making sure that that's got as much help as possible most of the time. But at the end of the day, as special of a player he is, and he's truly special, I mean, he'll be one of the first wide receivers taken in this year's draft. It's a really talented offense, which makes it challenging.
We'll finish up on the front row left, Cease.
Last week, you talked about defenses would adjust to Marcel. He had a couple plays with his feet, but maybe not as much as he had the previous two games. Was that because of Arkansas, or are you trying to maybe pass the ball more against what they offered defensively?
Probably a little bit more of Arkansas. I think obviously they made a concerted effort to probably ensure that he couldn't get going with his feet, and a slightly different box leverage than maybe we've seen the last couple of weeks, and so there didn't seem to be a lot of different ways to get him going in the run game. He still hit a couple scrambles and had one designed run, but I just think they were paying a lot of attention to trying to make sure he couldn't get going in the run game. And so when that happens, we've got to be able to lean on different parts of the offense, and I think that's maybe where we've got to take a step forward this week.